Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to be having a look at a new site that I found recently called Hidden Palace. And so, as you can see on the screen right now, we've got Metal Gear Solid 1, and this is actually the pilot demo for that game. And the pilot demo was something that was released as a limited time, but for the most part it was almost lost to history until this site, which I'll walk you through later on, preserved it and got it back onto the internet. And so we're going to be looking at that. We're also going to be looking at a whole load of different games from this site that were unreleased, cut, or beta demos and stuff like that. And so with that all being said, let's get into it. And so one of the first places I wanted to start off with was Metal Gear Solid 1, since it was opened in the intro, and I figured I'd talk about this one first because one of the really interesting things about this pilot demo is that you actually get a whole load of music that wasn't included in the final game, and this is music that is kind of reminiscent of the intro to Metal Gear Solid, but it has a little bit more of a rocky kind of mix to it. And so when I was listening to this, it kind of reminded me of the Escape from New York, which is a film that was made before Metal Gear Solid, and it was what Metal Gear Solid was inspired by. And a lot of the music from the intro actually resonates quite well with that kind of style of music that was in the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, I do recommend to check it out. It's basically the closest we've got so far to a Metal Gear movie. And so with that being said, let's check out the intro for the Metal Gear Solid pilot demo. Pretty cool stuff, right? And so one of the other things I wanted to mention, apart from the intro music, was also the alternate images that you can find that show Snake in kind of like a different kind of view. And I kind of like that because I think it must have been changed very late in the development cycle, but it kind of gives you a look into what Snake could have looked like if some decisions hadn't been made. And while I do like the new version of Snake, I feel as if this one is very cool to look at just to see how it could have turned out. One of the other things I wanted to mention is that I got to the end of the demo, and one of the really cool things I found was that at the end there was a coming soon message along with some promotional art that I hadn't seen before, and I'm not sure if it's just on this pilot disc or if it was also just released in Japan, but this concept art is very interesting to look at, just because it's something that I don't think many people get the chance to see, and I'm always looking forward to seeing like new promotional Metal Gear stuff that I hadn't seen before. And so with all that being said, now we're going to move on to Crash Bandicoot, and the reason we're moving on to that one is because for that game I looked for a few, and this one has the most changed content out of a lot of different games. And so what we're going to do is we're going to jump into that one and we're going to see what we can find. Okie dokie, let's get started then. So one of the first things I noticed just upon booting up the game was that the whole main menu had actually changed, and the main thing that changed about it was that a lot of it was now in black and white. Along with that, a lot of the font had changed too. And what's really interesting is that the Naughty Dog symbol had changed as well to be completely different. Going into the game itself, one of the really weird things I noticed was that through using a combination of cheat codes, I managed to hack my way into Hang 8, one of the levels from the first warp room. And I found in that level that the whole level design had completely changed. One of the other really weird things as well is that you can actually go into one of the warp rooms and face one of the bosses, and that's kind of weird because it's in the original version you would have to normally go up on the middle platform to be able to face the boss, whereas here it's in one of the normal rooms. One last thing that I found was that in order to get to the warp rooms, in some cases when you actually walked up to the portal, you could actually fall into the ground, and that was the way that you got into the game, and so that was kind of strange to look at. And aside from that, there's also some smaller things where the model for the crystal that you'd need to grab would be completely different, and aside from that you couldn't pick up gems in this version that I found. And so we're at the site right now, the one where I got all of the demos and ROMs from, all of the uncut content. And on here you can find not only the PlayStation uncut content, but you can also find a whole load of other platforms like PS2, GameCube, I think Xbox as well, platforms like that. And you can go and try out uncut content from that as well. But aside from that, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to put this site in the description, along with a couple of pages of the demos that I used in this video. And so if you'd like to check them out, then they'll all be in the description. But aside from that, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you like this video, subscribing is always a very cool thing to do. And do let me know if you like these kind of content, this more analytical type of content, right? Because it's quite a new thing that I'm doing. Haven't really done it before, but I figured it would be quite a cool thing to kind of start up and see if it'll work. And so let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of thing. But aside from that, I think I'll leave it off there. And so as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.